What's up? It's your boy KC. How y'all doing? This is episode 11 of the show. Got a lot to talk about today in this one show. But first, you know what grinds my gears?
What?
You women and them little ass Chihuahua dogs, man. You know damn well that them dogs can't protect nothing. They're useless. Them girls that put them dogs in their purses, and then when they take them to the dog park and they get chewed up by bigger dogs, they want to sue that person. It's like, whose fault is that? I didn't tell you to buy that little ass thing. Walk it someplace else. You know what else grinds my gears?
What?
Is it just me, or do people on Facebook not read a comment or a question when you ask them? When I say, what is your favorite video game, or what is your favorite this, meaning one, pick one thing, they have to pick 5 or 10 of their favorite things. Like if I say, what is your favorite video game? Mine is Resident Evil. They gotta pick Call of Duty, they gotta pick Mario, Metroid, and a whole list of games. I can't stand that shit. It's like, learn to read the damn question, and that's what grinds my gears. How shitty has Batista's comeback been? I mean, this guy came back during the wrong time, and it's not his fault. I'm not blaming him. It's WWE. But the timing was just wrong for him to come back, because you had the storyline that everybody was into with D. Bryan versus the McMahon Helmsley era part 2, and how they kept sticking it to Daniel Bryan and keeping him from being the champion. The fans got behind it because they wanted to see Daniel Bryan win the belt. And here comes Batista out of nowhere to win the Royal Rumble and goes on to WrestleMania, to which I don't have a problem with that, because I love the fact that Batista won the Royal Rumble. I wanted to see him win the title because I was so sick and tired of seeing Daniel Bryan. I'm sick and tired of seeing CM Punk and John Cena, that it was refreshing to see somebody else get the spotlight. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't have a problem with it, but the fans were pissed because they invest all their time and emotional time to watching this storyline unfold and develop, and then they just get thrown a curve. But back to Batista, I mean, it's just been shitty the way that they've been using him, man. I mean, he's taken the fall in damn near every matches versus the Shield, and that wasn't fair. He tapped out to D. Bryan, which I'm sure he didn't want to do that. He did the job for all of that, and he didn't get his title shot because Daniel Bryan got hurt. So I don't blame him for wanting to take a step back and saying if I want to do this again or not, because it hasn't gone right since he came back. It's gone completely sour, and I feel bad for the man, and I don't think that it's fair that the fans shit on this guy, because it's not his fault. He was put in a spot to where things had to go this way, to where he had to turn heel because he failed as a babyface. He tried to come back and do for the crowd, and the crowd just shitting on him because he won the Royal Rumble. So that wasn't fair, because you got the mind of these fans now that whatever they want is whatever they want. They're like a bunch of spoiled little kids, and they don't know what's best for business. Some fans, I'm not gonna say all of them, the old school fans know what I'm talking about. But Batista deserves so much better, and I hope that when he comes back that things will be a lot better for him, because I don't want to see him go through this, because he don't deserve it.
It's time! It's time! It's Vader time!
It looks like we have a bit of a backwards situation here, because this is the way it goes. WWF makes the guys, WCW gets them, and they destroy their careers. But it's backwards in the case of this guy, Big Vader, because he was just awesome in WCW. He did things that little guys couldn't do, doing flips off the top rope, and he was fast, and he was agile, he had charisma. He was awesome. The feud that he had with Sting and Ric Flair and so many other guys. He's been a world champion over there. WCW did that right. Japan Wrestling did it right when it came to Vader. When WWF got him, they destroyed Vader's career because they made him a glorified jobber. They had him lose to everybody. And by the time his career actually ended, he was putting himself down, calling himself a big fat piece of shit, which was wrong. Because Vader had more than enough momentum when he first came in, destroying Gorilla Monsoon and destroying people in the Royal Rumble. How did he go from that to losing to everybody, including Shawn Michaels? Because when Vader was supposed to get the title, like I said in the last episode, Shawn Michaels complained and got it changed. So Vader didn't get anything but a loss. And it was just wrong, man. You had one of the most talented big wrestlers that wrestling could ever produce, him and Bam Bam Bigelow, but I'm talking about Vader right now. Vader was just awesome all around the board. You know what I'm saying? He was just an awesome wrestler, and I don't understand for the life of me why WWF or WWE didn't use that guy right. I mean, the feuds that he could have had. Like, can you imagine, instead of that WrestleMania 6 match with Sid, if Vader was in that spot instead? Like, if they gave the title to Vader, how much better Undertaker's win and match would have been if he was going up against Big Vader. You know what I'm saying? He never had the shot, and it just really ruined this guy's career, and it pisses me off to this day because it's like they didn't even know what they had then. Shame on you, WWF or WWE, whatever you want to call yourself. I hope that Vader somehow managed to salvage whatever career he had left after leaving you guys. And you guys owe him a Hall of Fame spot just for screwing up his career because the guy was just cool. Like this guy needs any kind of introduction. The icon Sting. You know, in WCW, everybody like to talk about Hulk Hogan. They like to talk about the NWO and the Four Horsemen and the Outsiders. The Macho Man Randy Savage, yeah, dig it. But they never talked about the icon Sting. Sting is one of my favorite wrestlers. He's definitely in the top 10. Because people forget how important this guy was to WCW. He was, in my opinion, he was the face of WCW. He was the Batman to this NWO type thing. You know, he was the hero in all of this. And they had some great angles with Sting beating the hell out of all these guys with that black bat. And they forget that without Sting, who else would there have been? Yeah, you had Goldberg, but Goldberg was into his streak at that time. And even before that, the feuds that he had with Ric Flair, the matches that they had were awesome. I watched every single match that these guys ever had, and it just got better and better. Like I said in the previous, the feuds with Vader. The match, I never thought that these two guys could have that kind of chemistry when it comes to a match. And Sting was just a guy who could wrestle. He had personality. He was entertaining as hell. I love to watch Sting. Yo, and I don't think that people give this guy enough credit for the stuff that he's done. He's a multiple-time world champion. He's a multiple-time U.S. champion. He's been a tag team champion. And you guys need to really give this guy props. And people seem to forget that this guy, like wrestlers like Undertaker and Mick Foley and Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Bret Hart, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, who have given their all to the wrestling business and to the wrestling fans. Sting has been around for a very, very long time, going all the way back to the Freedom Fighters and Blade Runner, Steve Borden and Jim Hellwig. You know, they split. Jim Hellwig went off to WWF to become the Ultimate Warrior, God rest his soul. Steve Borden went off to WCW or NWA to become Sting. And that's where the legendary status began. And this guy has earned a Hall of Fame spot. And if Sting doesn't get in the Hall of Fame, then that is a huge blow and a huge slap in the face to this guy because he's given his body, his heart, and his soul just for this business. And Sting is the man. That's exactly what he is. He is a man called Sting. He's always going to be one of my favorite wrestlers. Much respect for this guy because he stuck in there. When WCW, he was there in WCW from his high points all the way to the lowest points, to where Vince Russo was screwing up shit so badly that the business was just plummeted. It was just dead. Sting was one of those guys who stayed that long, like Kane did right now. Kane and Undertaker and Triple H, those guys who have been in WWE for a long time. Undertaker's been in WWE since 1990. Kane has been there since 97. Triple H has been there since 96. And Big Show since 98. That's a long ass time to be in one business. So those guys, I mean, I give them much props for doing what they do. And Sting is one of those guys that deserves respect. I guess you can call this women wrestling part 2. You know, there were so many women that could wrestle, but I didn't get a chance to talk about this lady. Luna Vachon was something else. After watching her interviews and watching everything that they put this girl through, a woman who wanted nothing else but just to be the women's champion. And the Divas division that is treated like garbage these days, blame those women back then like Sable and Sunny and the Cat and Deborah. Blame those girls who used their looks instead of talent to get to where they were. The fact that women's wrestling is a joke these days is because of women like them. You know, I was listening to an interview with Luna Vachon when she was talking about when Sable first came in, how they just told her after Luna busted her ass to get to where she was. They just told her, Sable told her, that she didn't have to learn how to bump around. She didn't have to learn how to wrestle because she was going to be the women's champion. Just like that. When Luna's been there so long and she's busted her ass to get to where she was and she wanted to be the champion, this girl, just because she looks good, gets the title. So now Luna's got to go into WrestleMania and she's got to do the job to a girl who had no experience, who had no charisma, no personality. Her promos were garbage and she had no talent whatsoever other than the fact that she was beautiful. And she cried. She cried her eyes out after that match was over. Everybody congratulated Sable for winning the title. Oh, you did such a great job. All the champagne. Luna Vachon, nobody said shit to her. And that is so dirty because the woman, she went above and beyond to put Sable over. And you don't even congratulate her. There was one guy that congratulated her, and much respect to him. I talked about him in the last video. But the good guy, Owen Hart, was the only one who cried with her and gave her props and said thank you for doing a great job. Luna Vachon busted her ass, man, and that is just so wrong. It's dirty for Vince McMahon to do that, and it shows where his mind was at. All he cared about was the beautiful women, and that was it. He didn't care about the talent in women wrestling, and blamed those women for women wrestling being a joke the way that it is now. I feel sorry for these women that are actually great wrestlers like Paige and Emma. And you know something? Alicia Fox, I got to take back what I said about her. Because she really has improved her character. She has improved her wrestling skills. And I admit when I'm wrong, she's awesome. I like watching her. It's a shame that these girls get the buffer spot in pay-per-views and stuff. They get the moments where the fans are dead and they're drained from cheering from a big-ass match. And then you put that kind of pressure on these girls, and it's just a shame when you come from wrestlings like the Fabulous Moolah and Johnny Mae Young, Alundra Blaze or Medusa, Sensational Sherry, Wendy Richter, Bull Nakano, Trish Stratus, Lita, Luna Vachon. You come from women wrestlers like that, and then you stick in girls like Sable and Sunny and Deborah and Candice Michelle. All these girls that could not wrestle. You know, Jackie was great. Ivory was awesome too. You know, but it's just a shame. It is a shame. Video gamers, it's time for the video game portion of my show, as always. And after years of production and after years of giving me great games, the PSP has finally ceased production over there in Japan. USA has stopped producing it years ago, but Japan, it was so popular they kept it going. In fact, the latest game that came out for the PSP was Tokiden. They had it for PSP and PS Vita also, and it has so many great games in their libraries, talking about Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops, Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker, the Monster Hunter series, Phantasy Star Portable, the Castlevania games that they had for it. There was just so much on there. The Blood Plus games, which I'm still trying to get my hands on now, but it just really sucks to see handhelds and systems just cease production and just stop, because there was just so many games that they have for it, and it was so much a part of my life. Like, my favorite system of all time is the PS2. No system had as many exclusives. No system had as many games that has sold more than any other system and any other games for those systems than the PS2. The PS2 was the definition of variety. You had a game for every single gamer that there is out there. Racing games, survival horror, side platform games, all that. You had it all rolled up into one. Sports games. Sony, I wish you guys would go back in time, go back to the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 and see what you guys did to make those systems so great. Those systems will be immortalized. Everybody will always remember those systems. 20 years from now, they'll remember the PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2. Nintendo, go back to the Nintendo Entertainment System. Go back to the Super NES. Go back to the Nintendo 64, even the GameCube, and see what you guys did to make those systems awesome so that you can make the Wii U much better, or the next system that you bring out. Go back to those library of games. I just wish that you would go back and see all the titles that y'all had out back then and pull them from back then and put them to these systems now. Put the same hard work that you did back then into these, and maybe people would take your systems more seriously. Talking about underrated systems that were great and didn't get the production and didn't get the push and the longer lifespan that they deserved, that had great games in their library and people just didn't realize it. I'm talking about systems like the Nintendo GameCube, who I still play to this day, because I got Resident Evil Remake, Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil Code Veronica, Metal Gear Solid, Twin Snakes, Metroid Prime. So many great games for this. The Dreamcast, which could have been in great competition with the PlayStation, but due to the fact that Sega lost so much money, it's bad, because the Dreamcast was awesome. And then you got the Sega Saturn, which nobody even mentions. The Sega Saturn was one of the best systems that Sega could put out there, in my personal opinion. Dragon Ball Z Legends. You have Virtual Fighter. You had so many games that were for this system, and it's a shame that nobody really realizes how great these systems were in their day. And people, if you can find those systems, I suggest you buy them. You check out the games for it, like Shenmue for Dreamcast. So buy those systems. Anime fans and otakus, the anime pick of the week is Rave Master, an anime I haven't seen in years. God, it's been a long time. It's about this guy named Haru, who is the Rave Master. He has the Deca Force sword, and his job is to find the people who possess the Shadow Stones and destroy the Shadow Stones to restore peace to his planet, which is an awesome anime. I'm going to check it out. I did get a chance to check out the first half of it when it was on the Sci-Fi Channel, but unfortunately they pulled it off. So I'm going to watch the whole entire anime. I'm going to grade it, let y'all know what I think about it. And there is a game for GameCube, which I'm thinking about buying at the Rave Master to see what this game would be about. And there is one for the DS. I'm not even going to bother with that because it's probably one of them little cutesy RPG type games. I'm curious to see if this actually happens, that this new Dragon Ball series, I'm curious to see what it's going to be about, because they sure as hell can't repeat the storyline, because they already did that in Dragon Ball Kai, which bombed. I don't like that show. You guys already know I don't like that show. The dialogue in it sucks. The voice acting, the fact that they replaced a lot of voice actors that I've been watching for years and years and years, like Bryce Armstrong, who played Ginyu, and Tiffany Vollmer that played Bulma, and Stephanie Nadolny that played Gohan. I mean, that's bad enough already. That's strike 3 for me, but I want to see what this is going to be about. Is this going to be about Goku, from the time he was born up until he met Bulma? Because you remember that Dragon Ball didn't show all of that. So I want to see what Goku had done before he met Bulma. I mean, did he fight other people, being trained by his grandfather to see how his grandfather died? Is it going to be about that? Nobody knows. But I would like to see it. It pique my curiosity, as well as this new Sailor Moon series. I wonder what this is going to be about. I want to talk about a game called Bleach Soul Resurrection for PS3. I love this game. It's a great game, but there's two problems that I have with this game. The fact that it doesn't have a lot of storylines that should have been in this game. I mean, there's much more than just fighting Aizen and fighting the Orancars. What about the Bounce saga? I would love to play that. There are characters that they don't have in there, like Ikkaku and Renji, who were in there from the beginning. And I'm just wondering why they never made a sequel to this game, putting more storylines and more characters that are in the Bleach series in this game. Like, how about Ichigo's dad? That would be awesome to play as him, but they just didn't do it. I don't know what happened. I don't know if the game flopped, but in my personal opinion, it's an awesome game. You guys just might want to pick it up and check it out if you already haven't. And that's it for this episode. This is your boy KC, cutting out of episode 11. Peace.